Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. I give you the Terran player I am most excited to reintroduce after so long. Finally, coming back to show us how to play correctly. It is the machine. It's innovation. Up against the slickest Zerg player, the most entertaining, in my opinion. His strategies seem to revolve around beating his opponent, as opposed to mastering the game. And he does it so well, he truly earns the nickname, the final boss, in a best-of-3 matchup I didn't know I needed, but I definitely wanted. Kind of like with you liking and subscribing. Thank you for tuning in. I always look to show good games for the fans. And with these two, I'd be surprised if there was anything less. We already saw a Roach Warren started and canceled by Dark, as he has decided for now to lay off the aggression and focus on the macro, though I have no idea if that will be maintained. On the other side, I think we can expect whatever innovation decides is standard. Oh, another... Now, that is not where you put a Roach Warren to just play defensive. That is the most suspicious looking, just from my perspective, Roach Warren you could build. It's even out of range of where you'd usually scan. It's just off in the corner. If innovation for some reason saw that, if he gets the Reaper in, there's no way that isn't suspicious. It's clearly going to be some sort of shenanigans. The question is, to what extent? As Dark already sitting at 40 drones, Roach Warren is now done. There is Cloak Banshee on the way, but kicking things off, not with a Banshee, but instead adding on a Viking to try to discourage any OVs from getting close. Behind it is the band. Did Dark, he saw the Tech Lab barracks. He knows, of course, about the reactor factory. He's going to see the Hellions. So, a bunch of roaches up against Banshee. Banshee doesn't kill the roaches particularly quickly, but it does kill them, and they can't really fight back. So, the Banshee kind of the built-in response to any sort of early aggression. But once again, if it's out of position, the roaches can certainly do plenty of damage. Dark has a single roach that has driven back all of the Hellions, because rarely, much like their real-life counterpart, oh my god, the Artoslope over here, getting bullied out of the way. Yeah, going up that ramp with that many Hellions, I don't think so. He's gonna try to target down what he can, but Dark has been stuffed here before he even got close to doing real damage. And honestly got almost nothing in trade. This is just a complete and utter failure. This move anticipated by innovation. The only man I will allow to use a barcode in tournaments here in Wardy's Winter Championship. Apparently he allowed it as well, but you know, with a nickname like the Machine, I can't blame you for naming yourself directly after one. Like, he couldn't even be bothered. Like, Hero plays on a barcode, but he puts a little clan tag before that says Hero, which isn't that helpful, but at least it's an attempt. Innovation has made no attempt. He's just signing up for the tournament on a barcode and saying, you know who I am. If you can't read this, you're not worthy. Well, Banshee, Hellions, 2 Banshees. More than enough to drive back the roaches. Dark, though, 66 drones already. And counting. As another thing the roaches do is force the Terran into a more dramatic response. You can't just be poking and prodding with the Hellions. The roaches will take care of that. The Banshees have to be cognizant of where those roaches are hanging out, so that way they can shut down any sort of counterattacks. They still are kind of required for that, as a half dozen even roaches will easily deal with the Hellions. Oh, a few drones might get caught. Great, wow, beautiful split from Dark. Minimizes the damage and maximizes the amount of time mining as he's able to go straight back. Already an infestation pit from Dark. Is he rushing Hive Lurkers? He's getting an infestation pit and a Hydra den. How does he do? How he's got 77 drones? On my guides and tutorials, I'm like, you need to aim for 50 workers by 8 minutes. Maybe a little quicker if you're Zerg. Dark is out here with 78 drones at 7 minutes. He's got an infestation pit done. Quickly going to be maxing out with this sort of economy. Innovation coming across the map, just finishing combat shield. I assume he has stim. He does. +1/+1 about to complete, but Hive is on the way. The Lurker Den should be joining it momentarily. I mean, just getting Vipers at all. That's an obscenely quick Hive. Those tanks are in a very dangerous position. The Ravagers could easily... Yeah, innovation. Oh my god, it's a total disaster! Oh, he was trying... You can't even dream of it going that... Like, you see that happen... It only worked because Innovation was actually trying to save the tanks. A lesser player would have just given them up, but Innovation unsieged the tanks and sent the medevacs to pick them up and boost away. He was just that split second too late. And that split second spelled absolute utter... I don't understand how he does it. Once again, the... Only Dark. He kills air units with corrosive bile. He gets a higher economy than I see most Zergs get, completely unpressured while doing a roach all-in. It wasn't really all-in, but it was definitely... It should have done more damage than nothing. But here we are. Here we are. Dark with near 200 supply. He completely obliterated that first attack. The Banshees are still alive, thankfully for Innovation, because without them, this would be a total disaster, and Dark could come just marching across the map, very likely. Gonna try to target down the hatch. Dark doesn't even bother canceling. Waste of APM. Banshee's still heading up the center. Nidus, Lurker on the horizon here. Though the Banshees will actually delay it annoyingly. Another Nidus being built, not to be deterred here. Innovation still holding on. He hasn't... Well, I say holding on. He hasn't really been pressured on his side since the Roaches. It's just been Dark slapping down these attacks, but overall, he's done quite well for himself. He's got 8 racks, 2 factories back at home. He's keeping the aggression on. The Banshees are still alive. Well, the Queens... somehow Innovation just discouraged the Queens from doing it anymore. He's not going to get the Lurker down, clearly, but keeps everything busy. Another attack attempted. Not going to happen. 2-2 about to complete for both sides. Lurkers are finishing. Lurker range. Did he get adaptive talents first? He did. That Lurker speed, that's the stylistic choice you know Dark loves. Scuttle up there and dunk your head in the ground. Doesn't really matter how close you are. Of course, Lurker range is very helpful as well and kind of forces either an incredibly high tank count, ghosts. At some point, the bio units just don't cut it anymore. Casual Infester intimidating the Marines and then not attacking it. I believe he landed a fungal over there. Yep, do it again. Give me another one. No, he just leads them into the Lurkers, which will eviscerate the Marines. A escape Nidus? I think so. Originally intended as an escape Nidus. He may use it as one anyways. I love it. Dark with the escape Nidus. Innovation scans the edge of his... Oh my god! I have never seen such intimidation. Dark uses his escape Nidus. Innovation panics and scans the edge of his main. He's that afraid, as well he should be, as 10 Lurkers in the main could definitely change the game, and not in a good way for a Terran player here. But that living rent-free in his head. Oh my. Well, Innovation is ahead on supply, though you wouldn't know it. They're both essentially maxed out, which is more relevant. Yanks in a couple tanks. Doesn't bother with blinding him when he could just kill him instead, which is the ultimate blind. Oh, Dark. Just tearing through the Terran army right now. Those Lurkers doing work on any bio units that get close. He's got Lurkers spread out like widow mines here. Overall, it does feel like Dark is just in total control of the game, but Innovation is still at 199 supply. He's maxed out. All it takes is one fight, and you can carry that momentum into an overall victory. Oh my god, how does he hit so much? The Fungals doing ridiculous damage, shutting down this attack. The Medivacs will get away with nothing. Able to evacuate. Lurkers find another angle. They're everywhere. Making a real point for all those Diamond Leaguers who say, why not just build a Raven? Well, unfortunately, Ravens can be abducted and killed by Hydras, as well as taking a tech lab on your starport, but in fact, I'm starting to think the same thing nowadays. Dark loses several Lurkers for about as little as you ever could in this scenario. Why are there Lurkers here? Oh my. How did they even get... They're everywhere! He's truly using Lurkers like Widow Mines here. Oh my god. How many orbitals? There's only 3 orbitals, so he doesn't have that many scans. But he has enough to break through the front lines. These Lurkers cut down. Innovation holding the line here. He's gone through this. There's more Lurkers. They're everywhere. Oh my god. I don't understand how he does it, but he does it so well. It feels like you shouldn't be able to afford just having Lurkers at every part of the map, but he builds 11 more. Dark has lost 17 Lurkers so far. I don't even think half of those were on screen. They're everywhere. He's just setting them up. Doesn't matter too much exactly where. Innovation gonna try his hand at some of that multi-pronged action by bringing the Liberators up. A few more. Yeah, the Queen's not having any of it. The creep spread is not incredible from Dark, but he doesn't seem to care. A Nidus using the Lurker vision. I don't even know how they have that much vision from underground, but don't question it. Infestor goes down with a corrosive bile to split things up. Liberator not even sieged. I don't know what happened there. And Nidus comes in, I'm sure a moment of panic. Not a single ghost out of Innovation. Does he have the Ghost Academy? He built it, but he has yet to use it, which is a bit concerning against 21 Lurkers. It feels like he's not really respecting them, though he's built a ton of tanks himself. There are 24 Lurkers on the map right now, though you'll never find more than half of them on one screen. He finds the Nidus, but the Nidus is protected by the Lurker. Some more. They're everywhere. Of course, Liberators are annoying, but a Spore Crawler manages to hit 2 of them at once. More Lurkers dealt with in the center. He's spreading them out. He's even killing the rocks with them. There are more. Oh my god. It's at this point, just build battle cruisers. Like, just go battle cruiser or something. Just stop building ground units. Everything on the ground and below is Dark's territory. The floor is Lurkers. Even a single Lurker spine doing pretty another Lurker. He's got 12 Medivacs. Oh my god, does he not have any more scans? How do you run out of scans? He's got 5 orbitals, but he somehow ran out of scans. Oh my, the Lurkers have 3-3. What's here? Yanks at a tank, kills it in the air, which is a weird quirk, because technically ground units can hit it while it's being abducted if it's a ground unit. So that is kind of an odd look to it, but Innovation has been nearly maxed out and scrambling for like 10 minutes. The better part of 10 minutes. Building armor is completing. Oh my god, but of course, just assume there are Lurkers. There's every step you haven't immediately scanned, and even some of those you have, has Lurkers. The Medivacs are nearly out of energy, and these barely, it's just from stims and random Lurkers. I've never seen, this is terrifying. This is a horror movie right now. This is some Starship Troopers. I'm losing my enunciation, which was never my strong suit in the first place, and my mind at the same time. Innovation, it feels like, as well. He's just running up. A single one out of planetary range. Burrows more. Lurkers, 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 lurkers. He's putting them. He can only fit a couple in the scan. Divide and conquer. I don't know if they quite meant this, but here we are. Oh, not even sniping, but the lurker will be dealt with. But wait, there's more. The constant sound of lurker spawns, even in the middle of the map. Unfortunately, you can't attack ground, or I bet, at least unless it's rocks. Couple snipes, doesn't kill him. Another lurker, another lurkers. They're everywhere. This is the most intimidating. Did Dark? Oh, he's just now building a baneling nest, or he consumed it to death. I'm not sure which one. It's kind of crazy he hasn't really built any banelings before this point, but the splash damage is there. This is madness. Oh, I feel so bad for Innovation. Even though, like, he has more supply, but even if somehow Innovation wins this game, I think he's lost mentally. I don't understand how you deal with this. They're just... It feels like Innovation should be able to just put everything together and attack at some point. But there's always enough lurkers to defend. There's always enough. It's... He has to pick up. No parasitic bomb, thankfully. Be careful! I'm really... Dark doesn't even bother. He doesn't care. He's not... Why is he not using parasitic bomb? Here come the queens. Can start the creep spread from the Nidus. Why not? Why use the Nidus when you could walk? Now this is quite a committed fight. There's parasitic bomb. Gets the medevacs out of there. Innovation brings in the rest of the army. The lurker is getting flanked from every angle, minimizing their damage. They will be killed. He even has the overseer. More lurkers on the left, but that was a bad fight for Dark, right? He lost so much. He's lost 60 lurkers. Some banelings on the way. 17 SCVs going down. It looks like the lurker... Are they killing the planetary? Innovation has stopped dealing with the lurkers at home. So he's just pushing forward. He's got to be careful not to lose too many orbitals. But Dark is losing ground here too. There's still one. Okay. Only 9 lurkers left. Some of them coming up with the army here. Here come the Vipers. No EMP. Gets parasitic bomb on some big groups of medevacs. Innovation, stop microing. Oh no, he's killing his own medevacs with it. The worker counts will dwindle. The planetary was killed. This is madness. No, this is darkness. He found 2 more. There's 3. Both sides of the base. Where do you even go? He's not sniping it, and it wouldn't matter anyways. He's gonna lose the ghost. He micros out of the way. But 11 SCVs down. Still some tanks. Innovation with a capable army. He still has plenty of bases. Finally, the lurker goes down. Dark has so much gas in the bank. He has almost no choice but to build lurkers now. He's still... Oh my god, he's going back up to over 20. He's lost 69, which is nice, but not nice enough. There's still more. I'm fully in Team Innovation. I really want to see, like... Dark has had full control of the game. But has he, though? Because in typical Dark fashion, he's lost a obscene amount of resources doing this. It's just he never acknowledges those losses. He keeps up the strategy, and most of the time he keeps it up so much his opponent blinks first. Like, if Innovation continues at this current rate, he is... Well, he's lost a lot of minerals, but he's building a more and more anti-lurker army, and Dark has lost a massive amount more gas. Army. Those are not changelings. Those are just Marines chilling. What a crazy game. This is just game one. I don't... How many now? 28. Oh my. I don't know if I've ever seen over 100 lurkers in a game. In this game, there might be over 100 lurkers dead, and who knows how it ends. Dark thought about fungling 2 Marines. Pathogen glands. He's done all this without pathogen glands. Oh my god, why are the infestors here? Get sniped off. Just wandering into everything. He's 26 lurkers. He must have lost a couple somewhere. Or they're in a nidus. No, they would still count. Innovation has... I think slowing the game down is good for innovation here. There's been so much chaos. Dark, the Lord of Chaos, that innovation has not been able to really bring it to bear. And once again, Dark refuses to fight. Instead, he'll send the lurkers across the map, and innovation has to make some insanely difficult decisions. He's going to lose this base by the time anything comes back. The northern base as well is an orbital. A single base is canceled by a Marine. Dark. Innovation loses most of 2 bases. 37 SCVs! He loses most of 2 bases before a fight even happens. Some more lurkers. Parasitic bomb, blinding cloud all over the place. Gonna allow the lurkers to close in. Snipes coming out. They can go through the blinding cloud. There's not a scan on the majority of the lurkers to the north side. Several of the orbitals are in the air right now. I don't know where you go from here. He's just gonna go across the map. This is desperate. There are more lurkers, of course, back at home. But almost out of energy on the medevacs. He's sniping with everything he has. He actually clears a bunch of the lurkers. But there's more. They keep coming, and they don't stop coming, and they close in. Still, innovation took a pretty good trade, but he has nothing with which to rebuild. He's still fighting. I'm exhausted. Innovation clearly is as well. Dark probably picks up his half-finished sandwich and continues enjoying it as he knew. I don't understand how to play this game. Dark manages to lose 92 lurkers and win the game. Okay, well, I'm sure innovation's thinking the same thing here, but so we gotta play again. Altitude. All right. Let's reset. Dark takes quite a convincing game 1, but oh my god. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little lightheaded because everything was so weird. Like my brain wasn't really processing what was happening correctly. Because it's not supposed to look like that, but it was close enough to how it's supposed to look. It was this uncanny valley of Terran versus Zerg. In my old age, all right, like I have to fall back to things that I know, and Dark keeps changing the things that I know slightly, just enough. And I think innovation feeling the same way, because innovation maxed out with nowhere to go for half the game, sitting near 200 supply, but can never seem to really pin down Dark in a fight that matters. Every time, right near the end, innovation, pretty much maxed out. Goes for the bottom right bases. And Dark just unburrows and sends everything across the map. Like, how do you deal with someone like that? I'm unironically thinking of battle cruisers. As it feels like maybe the only way. You gotta do some sort of crazy mech or even Sky Terran switch late game. That's just how Dark do. Reaper. Innovation gonna stick with the standard here, Dark. Nothing untoward yet. Remember that started with a completely shut down roach attack out of Dark. Like, it didn't do anything. Killed one Hellion. But Dark just brushed it off and macroed it out. Reaper, me. Eh, might kill it. He gets a drone. Might as well GG now, dog. Unsustainable damage from that Reaper. Getting a drone on any other Zerg would probably tilt them into oblivion. It is actually a horrible feat. You know they shouldn't get it. Sweaty tryharders, micro. Factory. Slapping onto the reactor. Barracks gracefully moving over. Zergling speed for Dark, though a bit later as he invested. He didn't mind as much gas, instead focusing on getting that third hatchery up quickly. And will do so. You know, looking for the full scout. Yeah, I think, of all Zergs, even if you lose the Reaper, it's worth it. You click on the gas, you see he has barely enough for speed. He's only been mining with one. It's very unlikely to be a bunch of roaches, especially when Inno's going for a early Liberator with his Hellions here. Which, against roaches, you could definitely find yourself in an awkward position with very little. Liberators are okay against roaches, but if they decide to go with Ravagers, you're very vulnerable to corrosive bile as soon as you siege that thing up. So, you know, sacrificing the Reaper in order to confirm there are no such shenanigans, at least so far. So. Hellion's diving in. Will he commit? He doesn't seem like, even though the queens are a little out of position, he probably could have got some damage thinking about it, but not gonna dive past, assuming there are enough lings or queens to deal with it. And I guess there are, but yeah, there's 10 lings out, which he's kind of just scattered them throughout. I don't know if the Liberator was spotted. He doesn't have any spores, but the queen is clearly in position. Another one joining. There's nothing in the main, though. Yeah, one of them scrambling back. Brenda, why don't we build spore crawlers? Inefficiency. Well, isn't it inefficient to lose a bunch of drones to a Liberator? Shh, just move. Innovation sieging up the Liberator in the corner. Not so much to siege up the air, but instead in case he accidentally or intentionally hits that select all army key. He doesn't want to be nudged out of position there until he needs it, so it will remain in place. Baneling Nest on the way. Dark going down the more typical path. Lair, Baneling Nest, probably going to be focusing on Baneling speed. Puts his Evo chambers as a sort of wall off here, or maybe bait for an attack. I always question using your upgrade buildings as part of the... What? Oh. Dark was casually attacking his own creep tumor to keep him in line. Or misclick, I don't know. Could have been either one. Probably the first one. Just slips by, tries to get the Evo chamber in there, but actually Innovation commits. 7 drones, 8 drones. Honestly, at this stage, unlikely to get much out of the Hellions. Might be useful as Hellbats in the army, but limits Dark's economy. So a good start there. But unfortunately for Inno, that Overlord is still there. And that means the Zerglings know exactly when to move back into the third. Now Inno moves back in time to deflect. Of course, Stim, whereas Dark needs to buy another minute or so until he gets Baneling speed and 1-1 of his own. So this counterattack is less for getting damage done, as you could see. He probably could have committed and killed 10-15 SCVs, but he would have lost all the Zerglings. And without those Zerglings, he can't really keep Innovation at bay. Well, the Zerglings push him away. And all this is buying time for Dark's upgrades. Of course, Innovation happy to sit back as he got 2-2 already started. As a 4th command center, more racks, extra factories. He's not committed to some sort of all-in, but instead macroing it out. 2nd factory is on the way, and very importantly, the first one upgrading drilling claws for the Widow Mines. Dark now expanding to the south, adding on a 5th base as well over to the right, and we got 2 macro hatches in the main, the Dark trademark. Mass production, not shying away from adding some extra hatches, knowing that the queens might be pulled off the line. He might miss a few injects, but he always needs that larva. A nice group of Lings and Banes will shut down Innovation on the left, but that means maybe a little more vulnerable on the right of Star. Enough units back at home to deal with counterattacks, or at least Inno hopes so. And now Dark deflecting a double drop near the right. A Widow Mine joined in. Dark gonna use it against him, and it takes down the rocks, and that'll take down the Rube gold-based machine that is this watchtower. Odd to see that happen kind of accidentally, but here comes Dark. Innovation really struggling here as his supply just dwindles against all of the Zerglings. Dark just kind of sends everything in. Well, this has not gone well for Innovation. Clearly. He's got 2-2 on the way. Dark is just sending Zerglings. And it's all over. Dark? Jimmy? 1 point. I actually want to make 1 point here. And that point is, it seems we did the series backwards. I like to keep you guys on edge, but not like this. Jimmy, we're not supposed to go in that order. Yes. Oh my God. It was by date, but reverse. So, I know spoilers are annoying, but Jimmy really screwed this one up. Though that first game was definitely, I don't think you're going to top that. But now that you have that in mind, let us, I immediately debated as I realized, oh no, do we even show it? Do we pretend nothing happened? But in the interests of transparency and in the interests of, you know, having Dark versus Innovation, here we go. Bonus game. Alternatively, this is a best of 5 and Dark wins. I actually don't know which one it is. That might be it. So there is still, we're going to break the fourth wall a little more for you guys. But I try to get as little information as possible about these series. Like, obviously, a lot of the time it's unavoidable knowing at least the idea or suspect who wins or how long the series is. But I do my best to avoid it because, obviously, you don't want to be too biased by that. But that occasionally leads to some slip-ups like this one. But at the end of the day, if it's good games for the fans, they all stand on their own. Though only one game at a time would not be nearly... There are not enough days in the week or weeks in the year to show just one game per day. So I do hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you didn't turn it off for the spoilers. Thank you for watching. And now we're on Grezvin, where Innovation, can you believe it, is doing a Reaper expand again. Crazy Outland Innovation, not known for his innovation when it comes to builds, but instead his consistency, of course, as the machine. Dark, on the other hand, quite comfortable, it seems, with sitting back and relaxing. And by relaxing, well, for most players, it's not very relaxing to sit back and defend against Reapers and then Hellions and whatever starport unit shows up. But it feels like Dark just has this lackadaisical chillness to him that he'll lose a drone, lose some Zerglings, but somehow just ends up smashing his opponents. Even that game 1, which is it game? You know what? Not important. Even the game on Ancient Sister, where it went, what, 25 or so minutes? At no point did it feel like Dark was really on the ropes, even if he, on paper, was. It's just that effect he has. Like, does a player on the ropes also have enough Lurkers to send 6 out to counterattack? It seems like they shouldn't, but also, of course, I don't recommend trying that at home for those handful of you who actually play the game. Don't waste half a dozen Lurkers in random locations thinking they'll be doing realistic damage. Honestly, against your average opponent, making 6 Lurkers and putting them right in front of their army is usually enough, based on all the Terran complaints I hear, so. Once again, Dark with a quick 3-base delayed speed in order to get those extra minerals out. Whereas Innovation has a Banshee. He's got some Hellions. He's getting Cloak. Dark going with the Roaches again. He pulls out the Roach card, which, one of his favorites for sure. Oh, the Hellions actually, 2 Hellions dive in. Get 4 drones before speed is even finished. Not bad. Not great, not terrible. Definitely getting 4 drones when they're still at 30 is a much higher impact than 8 drones when they're at 60. It's just a much higher percentage. Well, let's put it this way. 1 is larva. You just don't have that much larva to work with early on as Zerg. On top of that, you're still building your infrastructure. You still have to build more queens. You have to build maybe another hatch, more tech. Whereas once you get to 60 or so drones, you usually already have those things. So by delaying the drone count in the late 20s, early 30s, you, did I just hear? Oh my god, it's the Coyote. I didn't realize it has, like, it does a howl. I've never, okay, well, that's so sad, because it dies in almost every game. Maybe that's why it's howling. Does it remember its past deaths on this map? Like and subscribe for another existential crisis. Banshee on the way across. What was I saying? Drone count. Getting that infrastructure up, because every building costs a drone. So you're kind of self-limiting the drone count. And using that larva early is something that has to be managed, and something that a lot of players don't think about. But larva management is not the most boring meeting you're going to this quarter, but instead a critical part of playing Zerg. And Dark just does it so well. He makes every larva count. He goes for those roaches, which most players avoid. Because, I think, in part, of how much cheaper they are on the larva than the Zerglings. But of course, it does leave you in an awkward spot. Well, the Banshees are on the other side of the map, which is helpful for killing a handful of drones, but not so helpful for dealing with the roaches. The roaches were spotted. Dark actually slinks back onto the creep, decides not to commit, assuming correctly the Banshees are on their way back. So Dark will feign aggression and delay the attack. So quiet and also sad. That Lyote. No, we're not back on that. We're not back on the... We're not talking about that anymore. We're moving on. Roach Hydra. Or maybe the Lurker spam. In fact, I think likely the Lurker spam, which is why the infestation pit being built before the Hydra den. As he... Oh my god. What is that? Did you see that? There's a Moopy out there. Can't even... It's just sitting on the... How did it get there? Can they swim? Oh, we're seeing a lot of things that are not related to the game right now. I do love the details map makers put in. The Moopy who eats the most stormtroopers gets to sit on the super rock and eat more stormtroopers. The Hard Rock Cafe. Joke didn't really come together. Meanwhile, innovation. With a couple tanks. The tanks will actually just drive back home while the rest of the Marines are picked up into the medevacs. Drop in the main. 1-1. Done now. Has stim, combat shield. There's just not that many units. He's trying to get back. Doesn't... They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. He takes the shots. Oh, come on. Come on. And if he was to get one medevac, of course. Come on, Dark. Share your hex. I don't know how he does it. But somehow innovation loses a medevac to the most obvious possible thing, which is corrosive bile in that scenario. Unless he just wasn't looking at it the whole time and didn't realize the Ravagers were there. Well, now he very much knows. You know, without particularly much army supply, the only thing is upgrades just now finishing for Doc. So that'll leave him with an awkward spot to clear this army. Innovation backs off before Dark can bring the whole army to bear. Medevacs heading towards the main. Just a few queens to defend, but more than enough to force him back for now. Not again. Not this time. He notices. All right. Jukes and jibes back and forth. He could just fly back and forth over the Ravagers as long as he dodges corrosive bile. Eventually the queens will come around to it, though. What are you... Okay. The tank convention back at home. Waiting to bring them to bear. +1 mech weapons is on the way. Another set of medevacs to the north. The main weakness of the Roach Ravager build, even with Vipers, is a lack of ability to deal with medevacs. Corrosive bile is not nearly enough to drive back the handful of Marines, and Dark is starting to take heavier and heavier losses. His creep spread is already reduced to a minimal level here. There are 4 Lurkers on the way now, but Innovation, I think, has realized all of this. Has he spotted the Lurker den? He has not, but he saw the hive building, so he can draw some pretty pointed conclusions here. He's got 8 tanks right now with the army. 2-2 is done. Decides to move out at a very dangerous timing, which is before the Lurker upgrades have kicked in or even started. In fact, Dark does not have any of the Lurker upgrades right now. He doesn't have the adaptive talents or the range. And that means a bit of an awkward scenario. The Lurkers will slice through the first group of Marines, but the tanks are more than a match for them, especially without their range upgrade. He's gonna yank half a dozen? Is what he has the energy for? Almost. Consuming the hatchery. Corrosive bile is gonna take out even more of the tanks, and just like that, 8 became 2. The drop in the main already prepared for. Another drop on the right flank. Enough roaches to force it to pick up. Dark maintaining a solid position despite his lack of upgrades. He really needs the Lurker upgrades, though. Like, there's a reason you rarely see Lurkers before those upgrades finish. They're just not that cost effective. They don't outrange tanks. They barely outrange bio before their upgrades are done. Moves the Lurkers up. Gonna yank in the 2 already badly bruised tanks. Deal with them easily. The reinforcements are on the way. A few more tanks with it. The attack up to the north side. Both sides maxed out now. Innovation still pressing in towards the south. The drop working its way around towards the north. On the edge of the creep, right outside the bases. +2 Carapace. Now finished. To make things a little more difficult. Innovation splits and stims. Fungal, though, gonna slow things down. But does he have enough to back it up? Blinding Cloud could be devastating in this scenario. And oh my god, it is! There's still one Lurker on the back line. Will that be enough? Corrosive Bows hit more. He's gonna take out the Lurker, but the Zerglings stream in to deal with it. Just barely in time. And now consuming everything but the hatchery. Already so much damage dealt by the Vipers. But Dark, I can't believe Innovation stimmed up into Lurkers. The Infestors showing up at the very right time for Dark. And Innovation loses way more than he bargained for. Still kind of wins the fight, but it is not looking incredible. Finally getting those Lurker upgrades. And if he's doing this much with stock Lurkers, imagine once he has the range and the speed. Just a couple Vipers, but without Ghosts to shut them down. The Vipers have been gaining even more value than the Infestors. The Viper control is second to none right now. Dark continues to pick out the key units, namely the tanks in most scenarios. Innovation continues to use these conventional units. I don't even think he has a Ghost Academy. He does not. Just continues building more and more siege tanks. Gonna try to out-macro Dark. The Lurker count continues to grow well into double digits. Lurker range halfway done. Adaptive Talon's already complete. The Lurker's trying to find an angle. He's walking into a beautiful concave here. He actually kind of just went right into that one himself. Another attack. The hatchery already badly bruised. Dark would have to be very careful. Blinding Cloud doesn't do enough. He just stims past it on to the Lurkers. And Innovation is tearing apart Dark in this game. Just nothing like it. And that's how easily it comes apart. The hatchery gonna go down. The Lurker's moving up. But already the hatch is gone. Dark supply plummets. 115 to maxed out. Innovation has been able to maintain the momentum throughout all of this. And a clean execution. It looks like, yes, the future was already written. Dark trying that mass Lurker style, but not this time. Not this time. I think the context of this being the first they played was even more dramatic. But Innovation just knocking him out. Dark kind of slacking on the upgrades, not able to get any counterattack damage, and Innovation, the Rock of Terran, at least gets that one. Hopefully you did enjoy a bit of a convoluted series, especially the Ancient Cistern game being one of my most favoritist, and I'm glad we saw Gresvin to see how to counter it. But thank you for watching, and thank you to Wardy for sending out the replays, as always. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Make sure to check out this game Jimmy put up there just for you, though maybe you won't like it because he's been really slacking lately. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.